How do you find your calm when the world all around you just seems to be spinning in chaos? It's really the central challenge of our time, isn't it? Finding that deep inner stability that lets us perform at our very best, no matter what kind of pressure we're under. I think we all feel it, that constant pressure of deadlines, the weight of demands from everyone, and of course, the relentless buzz of notifications from our phones. Sometimes it feels like we're in a constant battle just to keep our heads above water. You know, on one side, you've got the modern world throwing everything at you. Deadlines, debt, notifications, criticism. And on the other side, you've got the internal state that we all deeply crave, a sense of calm, of focus, control, and stability. So the real question is, how do we bridge that gap? Well, the blueprint for exactly this kind of high-stakes performance, it was actually delivered thousands of years ago. It comes from Lord Krishna, and his wisdom in the Bhagavad Gita was shared, not in some peaceful monastery, but right on a battlefield, moments before a massive war was about to begin. This is pretty much the ultimate guide to performing your duty while staying perfectly calm. By the end of this explainer, you're going to have 3 core principles from Krishna's teachings that will help you master your inner state. Okay, let's dive into this. The first and maybe the most famous pillar is all about making a crucial shift in our focus, away from the result and onto the action itself. Krishna told his student Arjuna this profound truth. He said, "You have a right to your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action." Just let that sink in for a moment. What's so fascinating here is how this one idea can completely reframe our entire approach to work and really to life.
This is the principle of non-attachment. What it means is dedicating 100% of your energy to the quality of your effort, not to the results, which, let's be honest, you can't fully control anyway. We are taught to be obsessed with the outcome, getting the promotion, making the sale, getting that validation. But that obsession, that's the real source of almost all our anxiety.
So how do we actually apply this? Here is your actionable takeaway. Think about your next big task. Maybe it's a presentation or a difficult conversation. Before you start, write this down. My sole focus is the quality of my effort, not the result. And then just do the work with integrity. When you master the process, you automatically become unflappable. All right, let's move to our second pillar, which really builds on this idea of inner control. This is all about handling the external pressures of opinions and judgments. It's a principle called equanimity. Equanimity. It's the ability to remain internally balanced, totally stable, no matter what is happening on the outside. It means staying steady when you're faced with success and failure, gain and loss, and maybe most importantly, praise and criticism. Just think about it for a second. For most of us, our self-worth is completely reactive, isn't it? When someone praises us, we fly high, we feel validated, we feel successful, like we're on top of the world. And on the flip side, when someone criticizes us, we crash hard. That one piece of negative feedback can completely ruin our day, our week, or even shake our confidence in our own abilities.
Krishna's teaching just cuts right through all of this. He says that both praise and criticism are just transient external noises. They're just fleeting opinions. See, if you don't let the praise lift you up too high, then you won't let the criticism completely destroy you. Your center, your core, it remains untouched.
And this brings us to a really practical exercise you can use. The 3-second rule. The next time you get some really strong praise or some harsh criticism, just pause for 3 seconds. Don't react. Just acknowledge the information, but remember that your self-worth is determined by your actions. That was pillar 1, not by someone else's fleeting judgment. That is true inner power. This brings us to our third and final pillar, and it beautifully ties the first 2 together. It's about finding a state of meditation, not by sitting still on a cushion, but through your actions. Krishna defined yoga not just as physical poses, but as skill in action. What he meant was performing your duty with such deep focus and expertise that you enter that incredible, stress-immune flow state. It's about being completely and totally absorbed in what you're doing. And here's why this is so powerful. When you are fully absorbed in solving a problem, or creating something, or just doing your work, there is simply no mental energy left over to worry about the results. That takes care of pillar 1, or to get distracted by what other people might think, and that's pillar 2. That deep focus, that itself is the highest form of meditation. So look, the chaos of life is never going to stop, but what you can do is fundamentally change your response to it. Let's recap the complete blueprint for building your own unflappable presence. First, non-attachment. Focus your entire being on the quality of your effort, not the outcome. Second, equanimity. Treat both praise and criticism as what they are, fleeting external noise, and maintain your internal balance. And third, skill in action. Seek mastery. Become so absorbed in your work that you find that state of flow.
This wisdom isn't just for some ancient battlefield. It is the perfect blueprint for finding peace and effectiveness right here in our modern world. So, my question for you is this: which of these 3 pillars will you apply to your biggest challenge today?